Hello, my name is Nick Barilo. I am the Executive Director of the Center for Hydrogen Safety. I'm here today to talk to you about safely navigating the pathway to success for hydrogen and fuel cell technologies. I have 10 minutes and quite a few slides, so I'll move through them quickly, but you can go back and refer to the slides later if you'd like. So why hydrogen as a fuel? It's the most abundant element in the universe. It's an excellent energy carrier, can offer zero emissions, is economically competitive, and has been used for nearly a century safely. It's clean and flexible energy carrier with many diverse sources and diverse applications. Here you can see some of the applications on the right in blue. Most of those are the legacy applications. The newer fueling applications that we're seeing are up in the upper right in the green text. We can also get hydrogen from a number of diverse sources, including those you see on the left. There has been a huge growth in hydrogen over the last few years. You can see the graph on the lower left there relative to Google Analytics and the trends that have occurred around the term hydrogen. Some of the applications you see shown here are things like heavy-duty trucking, fuel cell electric vehicles, transportation in other areas such as planes and trains, stationary and mobile applications. Many diverse applications are arising for this hydrogen's use as a fuel. The global projections you see from the Hydrogen Council on this screen. This is investments across the value chain, over 500 billion scheduled by 2030, and the US just announced another 10 billion. 359 projects going on worldwide. Let's take a look at some of the properties of hydrogen. It's colorless, odorless, tasteless. It's a flammable gas, non-irritating, non-toxic, can be an asphyxiant. It's non-corrosive, can embrittle some materials. It is buoyant and rises rapidly. It's 14 times lighter than air. The potential hazards include fire and explosion hazards, pressure hazards from both storage and explosion, low temperature hazards in its liquid form, and I mentioned embrittlement and asphyxiation. Hydrogen is approximately the energy content of 1 gallon of gasoline is equivalent to 1 kilogram of hydrogen. In comparing hydrogen to other fuels, you see natural gas and gasoline here. Hydrogen is approximately 3 times more energy by weight, but by volume is 4 times less than that of gasoline. It is also odorless. Natural gas has a mercaptan, very difficult to do with hydrogen, as hydrogen is the lightest molecule and wants to move up and away quickly. Keeping an odorant with it is very difficult. The other problem is odorants can tend to contaminate the fuel cells. So what's the state of hydrogen safety currently? Well, we know with all industries, safety issues can be a deal breaker and must be addressed successfully for the technology acceptance and deployment. The good news with hydrogen is it has a stable foundation, almost a century being used safely with lots of good knowledge and best practices. However, its use as a fuel is new to many who may lack the expertise or experience to do it well. And some have misconceptions and may not know what they don't know. So some of these dangerous assumptions we see here at the bottom are ones that we've come across, things like apathy, misconceptions, and fear, and hydrogen is too dangerous. We've certainly heard that through the media. The safety essentials of hydrogen include 3 parts: implementing regulations, codes, and standards, utilizing best safety practices, and investing in safety, otherwise known as having a safety culture. These 3 are very important to ensure that we have long-term success. Regulation codes and standards, fairly obvious. These provide the needed information to safely build, maintain, and operate the systems, provide some uniformity of safety requirements, help safety officials and others approve the work, and bolster public confidence. Here are some examples in the international realm of hydrogen codes and standards. This is taken from CSA and includes some ISO standards, CSA standards, and other standards such as NFPA 2. Best safety practices, it's a technique or methodology has reliably led to a desired result over time. When utilizing best safety practices, we implement the benefits of extensive experience. We protect people, equipment, and the environment and minimize the risk of incidents. And it's demonstrated through their incorporation into designs, standard operating procedures, et cetera. Really, it goes to learn. If we don't remember the past, we're condemned to repeat it, and best safety practices help us to avoid that. Being invested in safety is also very important. Having a safety culture that is not just about compliance, but commitment. It's directly impacted by your organization's beliefs, perceptions, and values. It's critical for sustaining a legacy for your organization and its impact in reaching goals, as well as ensuring long-term acceptance by the hydrogen industry. Again, it must be demonstrated. It's a culture of safety. That alone, there are many, many things to consider with hydrogen safety. You see some terms here, certainly quite a few things to take into account when you are designing or planning on operating hydrogen equipment. What happens when we don't navigate this well? Here are 3 examples of incidents that have affected the industry, the industries that they're in. There was an airline collision in the United States in 1956 that forever changed the airline industry. Certainly in 1986, we saw the United States Space Shuttle Challenger explode, and that changed the space industry. Those of you in India will forever remember the Union Carbide incident that occurred with 3,800 people perishing, that affected the chemical industry and had substantial changes. Hydrogen is not immune to this. We've some recent incidents from the hydrogen sector, and what you'll see in these incidents here is that there's a common thread. Human error was applicable in most of these incidents and led to some significant impacts. An electrolyzer incident is pictured on the right. That was $30 million in damage and 2 fatalities. Human errors affect all industries, though. It's not just the hydrogen industry. Here you see some numbers, try to put it into perspective. But it is something that we have to handle appropriately in order to ensure the industry is successful. Just in case you're wondering, there are other fuel incidents that have occurred. So all fuels contain energy and can be hazardous if handled improperly. Here's some stats from gasoline and natural gas. You can see the numbers here that suggest that we have grown accustomed to these sort of incidents and sort of immune to seeing them occur. We won't be as fortunate as we get started in a new industry and a nascent industry such as hydrogen. So really important, planning for safety is essential. Should be embraced as part of the design, construction, and operation process. It's essential to protect people from injury or death and to minimize damage to facilities, and will help avoid negatively impacting the public's perception of hydrogen and fuel cell technologies. Some guidance is shown here that is available for free download. Some other tools that can help you navigate to safety: the Hydrogen Tools portal, as well as the Center for Hydrogen Safety. The portal is a location which combines many resources into one usable interface. Currently, it's seeing more than 20,000 sessions a month worldwide, so it is indeed a global resource, and you can see some of those capabilities there on the screen. The Center for Hydrogen Safety is an international nonprofit that was set up to help gather and disseminate best safety practices and lessons learned worldwide. It is supporting applied safety in both the industrial sector as well as the new energy transition. And it provides a common communication platform and a global scope to ensure that information, guidance, and expertise is available to all stakeholders. Current membership of the Center for Hydrogen Safety. If you are interested in learning more about that, I would suggest that you contact me. We can tell you what we're doing and how you might be able to get involved. So some concluding thoughts: the future will see an increase in the use of hydrogen and fuel cell technology, certainly. Because it's still new as a fuel, best method for handling, storing, transporting, and using may not be well understood by the participants. And the dissemination use of safe practices for the production, storage, distribution, and use of hydrogen are essential for successful transition to hydrogen and fuel cell technologies. Certainly been good chatting with you today. I hope that you have a great rest of the conference. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to discuss hydrogen safety or are interested in the Center for Hydrogen Safety. Thanks. Have a great rest of the day.